All right. I want to do a my MS story. I've been watching a lot of your guys' videos. I got them up over here. Probably watched them all. Not just now, but watched a lot of them. And so I just wanted to contribute and see if we could like maybe get the hive mind together and find remedies and things that work and what we've noticed and maybe make some connections. And this wasn't possible that long ago. I mean, 10 years ago you couldn't have talked to hundreds of people, if not thousands, with MS who all have their own doctors, and so you can kind of see what opinions are going on. So I really think this is cool, and it definitely helped out a lot. So my story goes like this: in December of 2015, I woke up and was just kind of rubbing my eye and felt pain behind my eye, and so I just filed it away in the mental Rolodex and just was like, I got to pay attention to that. Why did that hurt? So um, I would say 2 days later, like December 21st, I woke up, and I know that because it was my sister's birthday. And my left eye was blurry. It looked like looking through glass or fluid or, just weird artifacts in it. Now I know optic neuritis, and anyone that's been through it knows kind of what I'm talking about. But just odd vision. So I went to the doctor, and they did basic, just a primary care physician. They did some basic eye exam stuff, but recommended I go to an optometrist. They didn't see anything in my eye, no objects, and they said get some more testing done. So I went to an optometrist, and he did some extensive tests, and he looked for retina detach and anything that he thought maybe was caused in it. And he told me that he couldn't find an answer as to why my vision was blurry. My eyes are fine, and that beyond here I would need to get a CAT scan or something like that and take a look at what's going on. So at this time I had no insurance, and so just basically to me that was like hearing you're never going to find out. Have a great day. So once they told me that, I just went home and was just kind of like, my mind went to some dark places, weird stuff, because it was months before I got insurance, so I started getting really bad vertigo. I dealt with vertigo in the past. It was kind of a reoccurring thing, and now that I see it's, related. But I started having pressure in my head, like there was a balloon put under my eye and slowly inflated, and so my head just started feeling like just a lot of pressure. And just the vertigo was just intense. Like when I'd move my head, I just felt weird. So once I got the insurance, I went back to a doctor and told him, hey, this ain't going away. I need to, go deeper to this. My primary care physician said, let's get you a CAT scan. Actually, first he gave me a round of antibiotics, which didn't seem to do anything, but I did, maybe placebo, maybe remitting, but I did feel that maybe towards the end I was feeling a little better, but it didn't go away. So he ordered a CAT scan. The CAT scan came back negative, but he said that, sometimes when there is a sinus infection, maybe like the first round of antibiotics killed it, but there's some like residual inflammation and stuff that could cause some just general weird feeling bad stuff. And so he did one more round of some stronger antibiotics, and of course I again thought maybe towards the end I was feeling better. Who knows if that's a placebo or I don't know if you guys know why. You could tell me, but it didn't go away, and so I went back to the doctor and told him it didn't go away. And he said, we need to get you with an ENT. I'm sure this is starting to sound really familiar to a lot of people. So I went to the ENT, and he took one look at my CAT scan and told me, you don't have an infection going on. Stop taking antibiotics. So he did what's known as, he asked me first off, he said, what's going on with you? And I, told him I feel vertigo like all the time, like just dizzy. And he said, like, when? And I told him, like, in your office right now, I'm dizzy. And so he did what's known as a Max Hallpike or Hallpike maneuver, where they kind of turn your head and tip you back, and then they check for the nystagmus in your eyes. Because your inner ear and your eyes determine your balance, the signals between those two, if your inner ear is having problems, then your eye, you turn your head and your body's like, I'm falling, and your eye starts looking for, like, where are you falling? I don't see the falling. And so it's like the signals get crossed and your eyes freak out. I didn't have that happen, which probably is good because it kind of set me on the right path. Even though, it wasn't the correct answer, it did put me on the path to finding the correct answer. So he told me, I think you're suffering from silent migraines. He said, I think this is what your issue is. and you need to start looking for triggers, and that stop taking antibiotics and just start. Something's probably triggering this. And so, I first I'd ever heard in my life that there's a such thing as a migraine that's not a headache. So I found out you can have migraines that present themselves with other symptoms like an aura or visual disturbances, as well as balance issues. And so I started looking into migraines pretty deep and found out that there's a thing called vestibular migraines, and definitely seemed like the answer. The symptoms and everything were right there. I actually even had an Addis pupil when I went to the optometrist, which I forgot to mention, where I had a slow dilating pupil. Sometimes Addis pupil can be where your pupil dilates and never comes back. It just stays dilated. Mine was just a delayed dilation. So I even found, some of that in people with vestibular migraines. And so I thought maybe this is it. This was right around spring when the ENT had told me all this, and I just wanted to take a vacation. Or not even a vacation, the summer off, but I did take a vacation. And then just the rest of the summer, I'd hired my cousin here at my shop. I have a sign shop / gift shop. And so I had time to just be away for a minute from the store and not be the sick guy for a little bit. And so and my symptoms were improving too, by the way. They were getting better, and I was feeling a lot better, although I still haven't returned to normal. So I just took the summer off. I just didn't want to think about it anymore. But in the back of my mind all summer, because I didn't stop researching stuff, and I just stopped going to doctors, so I'm digging deep. And one thing that's on the outline of everything I'm looking at, of course, is multiple sclerosis. It's just showing up over and over again. And I'm not the kind of guy to bury his head in the sand. Like, I look into it. So even if I don't want to know, or even if it was a tumor, or, I want to know what's going on in the signs and get it taken care of as fast as possible. So I knew I needed an MRI, and I knew I needed to check for lesions on my brain. So the ENT had told me, in the future, if I wanted to look into this deeper, he'll get me with a neurologist. So I knew that was the step I needed to go to. And so I called the ENT, and I had him get me an appointment with a neurologist. And I tried to preempt that because I knew I needed an MRI. I wanted to verify it wasn't MS. And so I tried to go to my primary care physician while waiting, because if you've ever made an appointment with a neurologist, it's not like a thing where, next week. It's more like, what are you doing in 2020? So it took a long time to get in. And I know it's a lot shorter than a lot of other people too. I mean, just from me telling you guys when my symptoms started, I know a lot of you guys have been dealing with this for years. So I'm not trying to even say that this is the worst story ever. But when you're thinking you're dying and freaking out, it helps to get answers fast. So basically, I made an appointment with the neurologist, and went in to meet with him, brought a list of my symptoms, and anybody that's going through this knows that there's just weird things happen and shift and transfer, and, hard to say, am I just looking at nothing, or is this related, or, like my eyes twitching, is that just an eye twitch, or is that MS? And so I just put down everything that I thought maybe was related to it, brought it to him, and had him look at all my symptoms, kind of went over my life history with him, and told him about the vestibular migraines, and that I thought maybe this was a good path, but I want to confirm. And so he told me that he wanted to have an MRI, and I was thinking, I tried to preempt that. I knew that. I wanted to show up with the results so we could have the meeting about what I had. But anyway, so I had to set up a MRI, and I got the MRI done. And the results came back as I had 2 active lesions on my brain, and he told me this is a 90% positive. This is an MS. This is MS that we're seeing. And so, but in order to do the other 10%, he wanted to be sure he had to do a lumbar puncture. And so, for those of you looking to get a lumbar puncture, or not looking, it's not like a recreational lumbar puncture, but it's not that bad. And people have a lot of horror stories. Don't psych yourself up too bad about it. It's, I had my wisdom teeth pulled with local anesthesia only, and I would say it was pretty close to that type of a feeling, So, the lumbar puncture came back, and he was telling me that there's 2 tests they test for. I know and I'll learn more about this, and I'll definitely talk more in depth, because I'm a little ashamed I don't know deeper about this. But he was saying that there were 2 tests they check your spinal fluid and your blood serum for, and he was saying that one of the markers that look like MS, because there is no MS test, it's just kind of a looking at everything as a whole. And so he said one of them looked like it was negative, that it wasn't MS, but the other one was looking positive. And with the whole picture, he was saying that, looking at everything, he's sure this is MS. He can't imagine what else it would be. But if any of you guys have a deeper understanding or an idea of a direction to look because of that, and I'll find in more detail also what these tests were and figure out what my differences were. But go ahead and comment. I'm going to post these videos on my Facebook feed, or not my Facebook feed. I'm sorry, on my MS Facebook feed. I think I'm in 2 groups right now. So basically, last Tuesday I was officially diagnosed as having multiple sclerosis. He went over the medications and all that, and I turned down the medications at this point. I kind of want to modify my diet. I've been on a pretty pretty intense diet, like very, very strict, and haven't broke it. And that's been about for 4 years now. I lost about 100 pounds. I've had blood work done, and my cholesterol levels are good. I was on the bulletproof diet, and but because I was on a high-fat diet, I'm hearing a lot about the Swank diet, which is more of a low-fat diet. And I have 2 active lesions on my brain right now while doing this. I haven't eaten out in 4 years. Like, I'm very, very strict on the diet. I go to dinner with people and spectate the event, so I'm very in control of it. So I basically asked him how do they check if these meds are working. He said they like to do an MRI about every 6 months to check into it. And I said, okay, I want to go modify my diet more extreme and then do MRI in another 6 months and see if this is working. So at this point, I'm just kind of, doing like a hybrid of all of the information I got from Wall's diet as far as the sulfur-rich vegetables and stuff to eat. But the low fat, so I'm, a borderline vegetarian right now. Only reason I'm eating meat, I wouldn't have a problem being vegetarian, but the stuff I've heard about how important animal fats are for brain development and stuff, and I'm sure there's evidence on both sides of that fence, but just from everything that I've learned, I saw that was important. So I eat, very, like twice a week I'm eating meat, and I'm eating very small portions. This is a very plant-based diet. 90% of what I'm doing is just a juice with all kinds of nasty stuff. Vegetables and mushrooms and all kinds of stuff. But I'll make another video and kind of go maybe more into detail into diet, because maybe we can talk about that. As a matter of fact, I'd love to discuss a lot of stuff more in depth. I feel like I scratched the surface on a lot of this MS stuff. But I would like to, get more into detail as far as like why people, what's the theory that everyone has on why people near the equator have, less incidences of multiple sclerosis. Is this a vitamin D issue? I know our gut bacteria is different, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff related to gut bacteria. So I want to know specifically what's different. What strains of bacteria are we lacking? Can we supplement those? Saw stuff about parasite eggs that have been used as tests in treatment, and basically they give you a parasite, then your immune system kind of gets snapped out of its craziness, attacking you, attacks the parasites, but it kind of resets. That was the theory. I'm not sure that that's working for anyone. I'm not saying that's a viable treatment, but I'm willing to look at anything. So if any of you guys, stem cell therapy, any in-depth stuff, I really want to look at this from every angle possible. Lyme disease. I want to look at getting a Lyme literate doctor to do a test just to make sure it's MS. I'm not doubting the diagnosis, but again, I just want to look at all of this in a sensible way. So, I'm going to post this on Facebook. Like I said, please comment if you have any answers or any details or just want to say hi or anything, I appreciate all your guys' videos. It's been more than helpful, and all of the people in the group that have been sharing. I've learned countless amounts of valuable information even before diagnosis. So, I want to thank you guys very much, and so maybe we can all get together, form a hive mind, and get this thing beat. Thank you.